In the quiet, dusty village of Umueke, where the red earth clung to bare feet and hunger whispered through thin walls, lived a young woman named Amara. She was just 22, yet her eyes carried the sorrow of many lifetimes. Since her mother passed away 5 years earlier, peace had become a stranger to her. Her father, Mr. Obinna, once a gentle and respected farmer, had turned into a bitter drunk. To make matters worse, he married a heartless woman named Madame Ifeoma, who loathed Amara and treated her like a slave. Amara was forced to cook, fetch firewood, scrub the compound, and toil on the farm from sunrise to sunset, often going to bed hungry. The villagers pitied her, but no one dared confront Mr. Obinna's madness. Then came Chidi, a young man from the city with patched clothes and worn-out shoes, but eyes full of fire. He had worked on Mr. Obinna's farm for 3 long months, clearing bushes, planting cassava, hauling heavy loads from dawn to dusk. But each time he asked for payment, Mr. Obinna waved him off. Next week, tomorrow, when I sell something. But nothing ever came. One sweltering afternoon, Chidi came to the house, weary and frustrated. "Sir, please," he said, "I need my money today." Mr. Obinna scratched his head, glanced around, and his gaze landed on Amara, who was sweeping the yard with a tired expression. A wicked grin spread across his face. "You want money?" he asked. "Yes, sir. I've worked hard." "Please pay me," Chidi replied. "Well then, take that girl," Mr. Obinna said, pointing at Amara. "My daughter. She's useless. Let her go with you. That's your payment." Amara's heart shattered. She dropped her broom and stared at her father. "Papa, please no." "Shut up," he barked. "You should be grateful someone even wants you." Madame Ifeoma folded her arms and sneered. "Good. Let her go. One less mouth to feed." Amara fell to her knees, pleading and crying, but nobody listened. Chidi looked at her, broken, exhausted, yet still beautiful in a way deeper than the surface. Something in her spirit stirred something in him. "She's beautiful," he whispered under his breath. "What did you say?" Mr. Obinna asked sharply. "I'll take her," Chidi said. Just like that, Amara's life changed. Tears streamed down her face as she packed her few belongings into a black plastic bag. No hugs, no prayers. Only her little half-brother, Santo, stood behind the house, quietly crying and waving as Amara followed Chidi toward the unknown. The journey to the city was long and jarring. Amara sat by the window, watching trees and dusty roads blur by. Though she was leaving a home full of pain, it was still all she had ever known. She didn't know what lay ahead. But deep in her soul, she whispered a prayer. "God, please, don't let this man be like my father. Please, just give me peace." Chidi didn't say much during the journey. He kept his eyes forward, thinking deeply. Sometimes he glanced at her and sighed. She looked so small, so tired, as if she'd carried the weight of the world alone. When they finally arrived in the city, the bright lights and rushing crowds overwhelmed Amara. She gripped her bag tightly, doing her best not to look lost. Chidi hailed a small tricycle, and they rode to a quiet street lined with flowers. He knocked on a tall black gate. When it opened, Amara gasped. The compound was spotless and elegant. The main house stood tall and white, like something out of a dream. Neatly trimmed flowers lined the walkway, and a gentle fountain bubbled nearby. They passed the main building and stopped at a smaller structure in the back, a cozy one-bedroom flat known as the boys' quarters. "This is where I live," Chidi said with a proud smile. "I just got a job as a security guard. The woman who owns this place, Madame Uchenna, she's kind. She lets me stay here for free, as long as I protect the compound." Amara blinked in surprise. "Really?" "Yes," he nodded. "She lives in the main house with her son. She said I could stay here as long as I do my job." Amara stepped inside. Though small, it was clean and calm. A bed with clean sheets. A roof that didn't leak. A door that locked. Compared to the cold mat in her father's kitchen, this was a palace. A faint smile appeared on her lips. "If this is God's plan, then so be it," she whispered. Chitty looked at her. "Are you okay with it?" She nodded. "Yes, I feel peace. Something I haven't felt in a long time." 2 days after they arrived in the city, Amara awoke to the warm smell of something cooking. The soft morning sun filtered through the curtain, casting golden patterns across the room. For the first time in years, she had slept deeply, no shouting, no hunger, no fear. Just peace. She stretched her arms and walked into the kitchen. There was Chitty, flipping something in a frying pan. "Good morning," she said softly. He turned with a smile. "Morning, Amara. I made breakfast. Did you sleep well?" She nodded. "Yes, like a baby." They both chuckled. After they ate, Chitty stood and said, "Get dressed. I want you to meet someone." "Who?" she asked, curious. "You'll see. Just wear something simple." Amara changed into a soft gown Chitty had bought for her. She brushed her hair and stepped out, heart pounding. They walked toward the main house. At the door, a graceful woman in her late 50s opened it with a warm smile. Her presence was calm and kind. "Good morning, Ma," Chitty greeted. "Morning, Chitty. And who is this beautiful young lady?" "This is Amara, my wife," he replied. Madame Uchenna's eyes softened. The wife you've spoken so fondly about. She's even more lovely in person. Come in, my dear." Amara stepped in, wide-eyed. The house gleamed with elegance, polished floors, soft couches, paintings on the walls. Madame Uchenna gently held her hand. "You're welcome, Amara. I can already tell you have a good spirit. I like you. Feel at home." "Thank you, Ma," Amara said shyly. "You can call me Madame Uchenna. If you need anything, just ask. This house is big enough for peace." Amara smiled. For once, someone spoke to her with respect. That evening, after tidying up their small space, Amara sat on the edge of the bed while Chitty fixed a broken handle on the wardrobe. "Chitty," she called gently. "Yes. Can I tell you something?" He looked up. "Of course." She hesitated, playing with her fingers. "When my father said I should follow you to the city, I felt thrown away. Like I didn't matter to anyone. I thought you'd be worse than him, shouting, hitting, treating me like a slave." Her voice trembled. "But you didn't. You gave me space, peace, even breakfast." Tears welled in her eyes. "I just want to say, thank you. I don't regret coming with you anymore. Maybe this is God's plan." Chitty sat beside her and gently took her hand. "I would never hurt you, Amara. I'm not that kind of man. Do you know something? I liked you the first day I saw you on the farm. I wanted to talk to your father, but I was scared. I had nothing." He smiled sadly. "So when he said I could take you as payment, I was shocked, but deep inside, it felt like fate." Amara looked down. "I don't love you yet, Chitty." "I know," he said quickly. "And I'm not rushing you." She nodded. "But I like how you treat me. Like I matter. Like I'm not a mistake. Like I'm a queen." "That's because you are," he smiled. "You've just been living in the wrong palace." Amara laughed softly, wiping her tears. For the first time, she felt truly seen. And though love hadn't yet blossomed, something had taken root: respect, peace, and trust. 1 month passed, and life slowly began to shine brighter for Amara. She started experimenting with new recipes in the boys' quarters and even kept a small notebook to write them down, one Chitty had bought for her. Her confidence was blooming like a fresh flower after a long drought. One sunny afternoon, as she helped Madame Uchenna carry groceries into the main house, the older woman called gently, "Amara, come sit with me for a moment." Amara wiped her hands and joined her on the couch. "I've been meaning to tell you," Madame Uchenna began with a warm smile. "Chitty told me you're an excellent cook. And I agree. I've been watching you. You're hardworking and humble." "Thank you, Ma," Amara said shyly. "My cook recently traveled abroad with her family." I need someone I can trust to take her place, and I believe that person is you. Amara's eyes widened, her mouth slightly open. Ah, Ma, thank you. Thank you so much. You're so kind. May God bless you richly. You deserve it, my dear Madame Uchenna said, patting her hand. Still emotional, Amara whispered, Ma, can I tell you something? Of course. I've been searching for a way to earn money. Not just for clothes or comfort. I want to go to school. I want to go to the university. Madame Uchenna's eyes lit up. You do? Yes, Ma. I stopped after secondary school because of family problems. But I love learning. I still dream of becoming someone great. Tears glistened in Madame Uchenna's eyes as she hugged her. My child, that's a beautiful dream. And I support you fully. Overwhelmed with joy, Amara rushed back to the boys' quarters, nearly skipping as her slippers slapped the ground. Chitty, Chitty, she called, breathless. He came out, concerned. What is it? Why are you shouting? She beamed. Guess what? Madame Uchenna said I should be her new cook. She's going to pay me every month. I told her I want to go back to school, and she said she supports me. Chitty's face lit up. He pulled her into a tight hug. That's my wife. My goal-setting, dream-chasing wife. Chitty, she said, laughing and blushing. Stop it. No, I mean it. You've come such a long way, from being mistreated in the village to building a life here. From tears to hope. From rejection to favor. She nodded, still smiling. It feels like a dream. And the dream is just beginning, he replied. That night, they lay beside each other on the small bed. The room was quiet, filled only with the sound of their breathing and the city's hum beyond the window. Amara couldn't sleep. After a long silence, she turned toward Chitty. Chitty, she whispered. Yes. Can I ask you something? Anything. She took a deep breath. Why haven't you touched me since I came here? Chitty blinked, surprised by the question. I mean, she continued, we're married. Another man would have done things. Maybe even the first night. Chitty sat up and leaned against the wall. His voice was calm and steady. You're right, Amara. Many men would have done that. But I'm not like them. I didn't bring you here to use you. I brought you here to love you, to care for you, to protect you. He turned to face her fully. I know you've never been with a man before. I know the pain and shame you've carried. That night, when your father gave you away like you were nothing, it broke something in you. I saw it in your eyes. Amara looked down, her heart racing. But you're not nothing, Amara. You are everything. You're strong. You're worthy. And when the time comes when your heart feels truly ready, not because of obligation, but out of love, I'll be here. Waiting. Tears rolled down Amara's cheeks. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. You mean all this? She asked quietly. I do. I want our marriage to be built on love, not fear. She wiped her tears and smiled. Thank you, Chitty. You've changed my life. He leaned over and kissed her forehead. Sleep well, my queen. Amara closed her eyes, feeling something she hadn't felt in a very long time, safety. Not just in a house, but in someone's heart. Just 2 days after Amara began working as the cook in Madame Uchenna's kitchen, something unexpected happened. That morning, she was preparing a pot of vegetable soup, one of Madame Uchenna's favorites. She had just finished slicing the uga leaves when the kitchen door creaked open. Standing at the doorway was a tall, sharply dressed young man. He had a smooth face, confident posture, and eyes that lingered longer than necessary. Amara turned slowly, unsure of what to expect. It was So Medina, Madame Uchenna's only son. He paused for a moment, scanning her from head to toe. Then he smiled. Wow, you're beautiful, he said casually, walking inside. Amara stood still, unsure how to respond. My mom told me about you, he added. Said you're humble, smart, and hardworking. Honestly, I thought she was exaggerating, but now I see she was actually holding back. He leaned against the counter, looking at her like she was something expensive on display. "Good afternoon, sir," Amara said softly, trying to focus on the pot in front of her. So Medina chuckled and waved a hand. "Come on, don't call me sir. I'm not that old. Just call me So Medina." She shook her head politely. "No sir, that wouldn't be proper." He smirked. "So polite. I like that." When he realized she wasn't engaging further, he chuckled again and walked out, still smiling. That evening, Amara returned to the boys' quarters. Chitty was sitting on the wooden bench outside, waiting with his usual cheerful smile. "Welcome, my queen. How was work today?" Amara sat beside him, a little quieter than usual. "Chitty, something happened today." He turned quickly. "What is it? Are you okay?" "Yes," she nodded, "but—" So Medina came into the kitchen. Chitty raised a brow but didn't speak. "He started saying strange things," she continued. "That I'm beautiful, that I should stop calling him sir, and the way he looked at me, it made me uncomfortable." Chitty's smile faded a little. He exhaled. "Ah, So Medina. That one likes to joke a lot. Don't mind him." Amara didn't laugh. "It didn't feel like a joke, Chitty. The way he looked at me, it wasn't right." Chitty gently held her hand. Okay, I understand. If he ever says or does anything again, just tell me. I'll always protect you." "You're safe with me, Amara." She nodded slowly. "All right, if you say so." But deep inside, Amara still felt uneasy. There was something in So Medina's gaze that made her skin crawl, a hunger, a sense of entitlement she couldn't explain. A few days later, Amara was back in the kitchen preparing lunch, carefully stirring a steaming pot while humming a soft tune under her breath. Unbeknownst to her, someone had been standing quietly at the entrance, watching her. It was So Medina again. He stepped in slowly and leaned against the doorframe with that same smug grin. "There's something special about the way you cook," he said, interrupting her piece. Amara turned, surprised but not amused. "Good afternoon, sir," she greeted with caution. So Medina ignored the greeting and walked closer. "Let me go straight to the point," he said. "I like you. I'm not playing games. You're smart, beautiful, hardworking, and you deserve better." She stiffened, unsure where this was going. "I want you to be my girl," he said boldly, lowering his voice. "I'll change your life. I'll sponsor you to school, not just here, but abroad. London, Canada, anywhere. New phone, new clothes, monthly allowance. Everything you want." He stepped closer. "That security man you're with, what can he really do for you?" "Nothing. I can pay him off. Or better yet, tell my mum to sack him." Amara took a small step back. "Sir, with all due respect, I'm not interested." So Medina raised an eyebrow. "What?" "I'm focused on my marriage, my work, and my future. I'm not throwing that away for empty promises." He laughed, a loud, mocking laugh. "Marriage? That thing with Chitty? Don't deceive yourself. You should be with someone on your level. Someone like me." Amara's voice stayed firm. "I'm proud of my husband. He may not have much, but he treats me with love and dignity. I'd rather build a future with him than sell my soul for comfort." So Medina scoffed. "You'll regret this." "No, sir," she said calmly. "If loyalty is a mistake, I'll keep making it." He glared at her for a long second before storming out of the kitchen. That evening, Amara returned to the boys' quarters. Chitty noticed her silence instantly. "My queen, are you okay?" he asked softly. Tears welled in her eyes as she nodded slowly. So Medina came to me again. Chitty sat upright. "This time, he made big promises," she continued. "He said he'd pay for my school abroad, buy me things, change my life, but only if I agreed to be his girl. He even said he'd sack you or pay you off to get rid of you." Chitty clenched his fists but quickly relaxed when he saw her trembling. "What did you tell him?" "I told him no. I told him I believe in you. I believe in us. I told him I'd rather struggle with a man who loves me than enjoy riches with someone who wants to use me. Chitty was silent for a moment, then gently pulled her into a tight embrace. Thank you, Amara, for standing by me. She wiped her cheek and smiled. You stood by me first. Now it's my turn. That night, they prayed together before bed. But even as the prayer ended, Amara's heart remained restless. She had tried to endure in silence, but now she had reached her limit. The next morning, Amara woke early as usual. She swept the room, cleaned the little kitchen, and tried to focus on her chores. But her heart was heavy. So Medina's words kept replaying in her mind. So did Chitty's silence, the quiet pain in his eyes. She couldn't take it anymore. Without telling Chitty, Amara walked briskly to the main house and knocked gently on the door. Madame Uchenna opened it with her usual warm smile. Amara, my dear. Good morning. Hope you slept well. Amara looked down, her voice calm but strained. Good morning, Ma. Please, can I speak with you? Madame Uchenna's smile faded slightly as she stepped aside and gestured. Of course. Come in. They sat on the couch. Amara took a deep breath and spoke, her words slow and steady. Ma, I've tried to stay quiet. I didn't want to disrespect your home or cause any trouble, but I can't keep silent anymore. Madame Uchenna leaned in, her expression shifting. What's going on, Amara? It's your son, Amara said plainly. So Medina. He's been making me uncomfortable. Saying things. Promising me money, school abroad, asking me to leave my husband and be with him instead. Madame Uchenna's face went still. He even said he could pay Chitty off or get him sacked, just to get rid of him. Amara's voice trembled, but she didn't break. Ma, I respect you. And I respect this house. But I will never betray my husband. I married Chitty because he stood by me when no one else did. I can't sell myself. Not for any amount. There was a long, heavy silence. Then Madame Uchenna leaned back and folded her arms. You're a beautiful girl, Amara. And a wise one. But you must think carefully, she said softly. Maybe my son sees something in you, potential. Maybe you should give him a chance. Amara blinked. Ma, I'm not saying leave Chitty carelessly, Madame Uchenna continued. But think about it. We can give you the life you dream of. Education, comfort. Even your husband will benefit. We'll settle him well. Just say the word. Amara stood up slowly, her hands trembling. With all due respect, Ma. I am not for sale. Madame Uchenna's eyes narrowed. I didn't marry Chitty because of pity or desperation. I married him because when my father gave me away like I was worthless, Chitty gave me dignity. He gave me peace. Tears shimmered in her eyes, but her voice never shook. I will never betray him. Not for money. Not for luxury. Not for anything. She turned to leave, then paused at the door. If your son doesn't stop this, we will leave. I won't stay in a place where I am disrespected. With that, she stepped out, her heart pounding, her tears finally falling. But they weren't tears of regret, they were tears of strength. As she walked back to the boys' quarters, her steps were firm. Her chest rose and fell with emotion. Anger, hurt, and courage swirled inside her. She loved Chitty, and she had chosen him. When Amara stepped back into the boys' quarters, her face was streaked with tears, but her eyes burned with resolve. She couldn't believe Madame Uchenna, someone she admired, had tried to buy her like a product in the market. How could a woman speak so sweetly and still carry such coldness in her heart? As she entered the room, she froze. Bundles of money, stacked neatly on the small table in the corner. Her heart skipped. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Chitty, what is all this? He rose from the edge of the bed, calm, almost gentle. My love, he said quietly, come and sit. She walked over slowly and sat, eyes still locked on the money. Please talk to me, she whispered. Where did this money come from? Chitty smiled faintly. I've been saving it, little by little, since the first year I came to the city. My dream was to start a small business. Amara blinked, confused. Then why show me now? Chitty pointed at the money again. Because today, when you defended me, when you looked wealth in the face and chose love, I realized something. You deserve more. He took her hand gently. I want you to use this money for your education. You've always wanted to go back to school. So take it. Go. I'll be fine. Amara's mouth trembled. She looked at the money, then at him. No. Chitty looked surprised. I'm serious, Amara. She stood up. And so am I. No. Why? He asked softly. Her voice broke with passion. Because this is your dream, Chitty. You saved this with hard work, with sweat and sacrifice. You wanted to start something of your own, and now you want to throw it away for me. I love you, he said. And I love you too, she whispered, wiping tears from her cheeks. That's why I want us to use this money wisely. Let's rent a small room outside this compound. Let's start your business together. I'll help you manage it, cook for customers, clean, do everything. And when it begins to grow, then I'll go to school. One step at a time. Chitty stared at her, speechless. You want us to leave here? He finally asked. Yes, she said firmly. I don't want to stay where your brother and your mother think they can control us. I want peace. Even if it's small, let it be ours. He stood slowly, walked to her, and held her hand like it was made of gold. Amara, you're not just beautiful. You're wise. You're everything I ever prayed for. She smiled through her tears. And you're the only man I want. He pulled her into his arms, and they held each other tightly. Then came the kiss, slow, warm, and full of meaning. A kiss born not of lust, but of respect, unity, and real love. That night, they didn't say much. They simply lay in each other's arms, silent, peaceful, the moonlight painting their faces. Our better days are coming, Amara whispered. Chitty nodded. Yes, my queen. Step by step, we'll get there together. The next morning, Chitty was nowhere to be found. Amara swept the floor, washed their clothes, and tidied the little kitchen, but her mind was elsewhere. She couldn't stop thinking about what had happened the day before, how Madame Uchenna had tried to convince her to betray her husband, and how Somadina had looked at her like she was something to conquer. She sighed deeply and sat on the wooden stool to rest. Then there was a knock at the door. She opened it slowly and froze. Madame Uchenna and Somadina stood at the entrance. Amara didn't know what to say. My daughter, Madame Uchenna began softly. Please, can we come in? Amara stepped aside without a word. They sat down. The room was silent for a long moment before Madame Uchenna finally spoke again. We came to apologize. Amara blinked. I was wrong, Madame Uchenna said. We both were. My son and I. We misjudged you. You are not just beautiful, Amara. You are a woman of dignity, of strength. Somadina nodded slowly, his eyes lowered. I let pride and entitlement blind me. I see clearly now. Chitty is a lucky man. You're a rare kind of wife. Amara remained quiet, listening. Madame Uchenna smiled faintly. We called you our wife before, and we meant it. But now, we say it with respect. Amara gave a small, polite smile. Thank you, Ma. I forgive you. Truly. There was a pause. Then Madame Uchenna said something strange. You are my son's wife. Amara's brow furrowed. Your son. She looked at Somadina, confused. Madame Uchenna smiled gently. Don't worry. You will understand soon. They stood, thanked her again, and left the room. Amara stood by the door, confused. Her thoughts ran wild. What did she mean by my son's wife? Later that evening, Chitty returned. His face was tired, but his eyes were calm. She turned sharply. Where have you been? I've been waiting all day. My love, he said softly, there's something I need to tell you. She crossed her arms. What now? He took her hands and looked straight into her eyes. Amara. I'm sorry. She pulled back slightly. Sorry for what? He took a deep breath and sat down. For lying to you. Her eyes narrowed. Lying about what? He hesitated, then spoke the truth. So Medina is not just the landlady's son. He's my younger brother. And Madame Uchenna, she's not my boss. He paused. She's my mother. Amara gasped. She stared at him like he had grown two heads. Chitty, are you serious? He nodded slowly. Yes, I'm truly sorry. I didn't mean to deceive you. I just needed to know, could someone love me for who I am, not for what I have? He lowered his gaze. I've had my heart broken too many times. Women pretended to care, but they were only chasing my family's wealth. They left the moment I stopped giving. Amara sat down slowly, still in shock. You went that far to hide all this from me? I didn't plan to lie for long. I just wanted to be sure, and then you came. You chose me when you thought I had nothing. There was silence. Then Amara smiled slowly and said, Okay, I forgive you. Chitty's eyes widened. You do? Yes, she said, teasing, but you owe me. Big time. He laughed. What do I owe you? A car and a mansion, she replied, grinning. For lying to me so well. He burst into laughter. Done. Consider it yours, my queen. Amara laughed too and threw her arms around him. I love you, Chitty. And I love you even more, Dr. Amara-to-be, he whispered. They kissed, deeply, joyfully, with no more secrets between them. Just truth and trust. The news spread faster than wildfire. The so-called security man in Madame Uchenna's compound wasn't just a guard, he was her eldest son. A wealthy heir. A quiet billionaire pretending to be poor. Back in the dusty village of Umueke, the gossip reached every ear by sunset. When Mr. Obinna, Amara's father, heard the full story, he nearly choked on his gourd of palm wine. His eyes widened in disbelief. The girl he had given away, like a forgotten piece of yam, had married into wealth. Real wealth. He fumbled for his phone and called Amara. My daughter, please forgive me, he said, his voice trembling with sudden humility. I was blind. I didn't know God had blessed you like this. Amara was silent. I want your stepsister, Chinello, to come and stay with you in the city. Things are hard here. She can help you and also benefit from the opportunities. Amara closed her eyes. Her voice, when it came, was calm, too calm. With all due respect, sir, she said, never. Amara, please. I forgive you, she interrupted, but I will never forget what you and Madame Ifeoma did to me. I was treated worse than a servant. You gave me away like a debt repayment. Her voice sharpened. If you ever need help for something important, like health or survival, you can call me. But not for nonsense. Not to bring people to eat where they never sowed. She paused, then added firmly, and take good care of your wife. The same wicked woman who smiled when you threw your daughter away. Before he could speak again, she ended the call and dropped the phone. She sat back and looked upward. Thank you, Jesus, for sending Chitty into my life. Years passed. Amara walked across the university graduation stage wearing a white coat and a wide, confident smile. She had become a qualified medical doctor. Chitty was in the crowd, clapping like his life depended on it. That's my wife, he shouted. Come here, you beautiful doctor. After the ceremony, he hugged her tightly, lifting her off the ground. I'm so proud of you, baby. You are mine forever. Thank you for believing in me, Amara whispered. Thank you for everything, Chitty. You're the world's best husband. And you, he said, are my forever queen. One quiet afternoon, Chitty took her for a drive. They entered a gated estate and stopped in front of a massive white mansion with golden gates. Amara looked around, confused. Why are we here? Chitty smiled and reached into his pocket. This is your mansion, my queen. Amara's eyes widened. Huh. Chitty, stop joking. I'm serious, he laughed. I promised you a car and a mansion, and here they are. She screamed with joy, hugged him tightly, and wiped tears from her eyes. Wait, she said suddenly, stepping back with a knowing smile. I also have good news. What is it? He asked, smiling wide. She leaned in and whispered, I went for a test last week. I'm 3 months pregnant. Chitty froze. Then his joy exploded. Amara, are you serious? She nodded, laughing. He lifted her off the ground and spun her around. We're going to have a baby. Thank you, Jesus. He knelt down and kissed her stomach. My baby, your daddy loves you already. Amara stood there smiling, eyes full of tears and heart full of peace. From being rejected to becoming royalty, she said softly. She looked into Chitty's eyes and whispered, truly, my name is Amara. As the sun set behind the mansion and the golden rays kissed the walls, Amara stood with Chitty on the balcony, hand in hand. The air was quiet, yet her heart beat with a joy louder than any drum she'd ever heard in the village. No longer a girl sweeping red dust in silence. No longer a daughter thrown away. She was now a woman of purpose, a wife loved deeply, and a mother in the making. In that moment, as the wind danced around her, she smiled and whispered to herself. They tried to bury me, but they didn't know I was a seed. Moral of the story. Never measure your worth by the opinions of those who failed to see your value. Sometimes, rejection is the redirection that leads you into purpose, peace, and a love that honors your soul. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, tell us what you think of Amara's journey in the comments.